Hey, what's up YouTube? This is L, and I'm going to be bringing you another pro tips video for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. This one's going to be some tips and tricks on how to play free-for-all well. The video you're going to be seeing in the background is going to be me playing some free-for-all on Detroit. Let's get into it. So, one of the things you can do in free-for-all that you can't do in any other game mode is that you can actually spectate your enemies before you spawn. I think you can actually do this in Infection too, but I'll do a separate video about that later. Anyway, you can use this information to your advantage to go towards them to get the kill, and sometimes most people don't actually do this, so they won't know where you're at. Generally, people do have an idea where spawn points are, like I did right there. I did go towards the spawn point, but unfortunately I did lose that gunfight. But you do need to know where spawn points are, or at least you should, so that it'll increase your kill opportunity, because in free-for-all, since there's no other real determining factor for spawn points besides like whether or not people are close to you, it does help to know the spawn points, because then you can kind of distance yourself and find an area where there's high traffic and a lot of spawn points surrounding it. You should gauge it depending on how you know your skill level is, and that should pretty much gauge your positioning. But generally you want to play defensively in that area to get some more kills and to be able to, get a good game of free-for-all. So those are some things you do need to take into account when you're playing free-for-all, is you want to use all information available or that you can get. So, using that tip I showed you about checking where people have spawned before you spawn into the game, and you want to take into account things like high traffic areas and spawn points, and just use those things to your advantage. Another thing you should do for free-for-all is, or things that are helpful, is class setup. Things that are helpful in free-for-all for class setup wise is you probably want to be using low profile. It does help because UAVs are pretty much the only other way that people get information, except when unsuppressed fire occurs. And cold-blooded helps too, because then you can kind of get rid of that red name that identifies you as an enemy. And some other things are like scavenger. Sometimes those are helpful because you could dump a whole bunch of bullets downstream, and then you could double tap to quick reload, and just use that scavenger so that you can quick reload and use scavenger to pick up extra bullets. That is kind of optional because excuse me, for the most part I don't think your lives are going to be that long, or at least in general, free-for-all lives aren't exactly that long. And you can see me using that technique of managing spawn points right here in the video. Unfortunately, I die. But yeah, those are some things you want to consider. Also, silencer. Silencer is really helpful, and it's just helpful because then it prevents your enemies from knowing where you are. So those things you should take into account when creating a class for free-for-all, and you also want to take into account spawn points, positioning for high traffic areas, and you want to use that little information at the beginning to spectate your enemies before you spawn in. Of course, that only works when you've joined a game that has not begun yet. Unfortunately, it doesn't work when the game has already begun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, share. L out.